Welcome to Fortuna's Events podcast series, where we engage in dynamic conversations with the pioneers, experts, and change makers driving progress across industries. In each episode, we explore how cutting edge innovations, strategic approaches, and emerging trends are reshaping the future of businesses. Our goal is to offer fresh insights into the evolving challenges and opportunities that professionals face today. I'm your host, Shweta, Senior Content Executive at Fortuna's Events. Hi, Vipin. How are you?
Doing all right.
Thank you for joining us on this Fortuna's Events podcast series. We are really appreciative of you to be here. Let's kick this off by you giving us a short introduction about yourself, your role, and where are you currently at.
Oh yeah, thank you. Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure. So I am the Chief Customer Officer at SurveySparrow. I've been with SurveySparrow for last 5 years. SurveySparrow is basically an experience management platform which definitely has AI today. That's I think the keyword everywhere. So it has a lot of AI elements. So what the platform primarily does is it collects direct, indirect feedback from your customers and gives you actionable insights to ensure that it can eventually impact your sales, retention, and advocacy.
I see. Okay. In your role as Chief Customer Officer, how do you prioritize different customer success initiatives?
I've been in customer success for a pretty long time. So how I've really looked at is really balancing like short-term and long-term strategic goals in customer success, right? It's really measuring the health of the customer. Are they adopting enough? What is the adoption level? Segmenting of customers, because in SaaS, the kind of customers that we have is all kinds of customers. We have like more than 4,000 paying customers, which is huge. So then segmentation becomes an important aspect about it. So that's retention and some of the lagging metrics just to get a sense of it. But retention is one big top level metric. Growth is another metric. So when I say growth, one definitely is in terms of how customers are really maturing with the newer things that we are launching. Along with that, are they growing in terms of revenue? So growth becomes an important aspect. Now, if you combine the two, I mean, retention and growth, then you would fall into another metric called net retention rate. That's another important metric. Then, being an experience management company ourselves, customer NPS score is very important, and it's where we dog food our own product as well.
Fair
So
enough.
yeah, and it can go on. So advocacy is some other important metrics where the team is focused on bringing in a lot of case studies and maintain and create online reputation. And finally, one core metric I would say is renewal.
Fair enough. Vipin, how would you say how important it is for SaaS companies to align product innovation with customer success?
I cannot evangelize that more. I think that's very important. It's absolutely crucial for any SaaS company. Yeah, yeah. Because customers are not just buying your product; they are actually investing in a solution. And even though if they're trying to buy a solution that solves for the immediate problem, if they're looking at also a solution that it will evolve with their needs in the future, right?
Yes.
So it's absolutely important that product and customer success teams align for a SaaS company to be truly successful. And it's also essential to ensure that the product team continuously delivers value and adapts to the changing customer expectations and market dynamics. I'll give you an example.
Can.
Nobody
Yes.
talked about AI a few years back. Suddenly AI came and there was a lot of awareness on customers how AI can really help. And as a SaaS company, you truly have to match the market pace or match those demands and ensure that you're able to bring that at a speed at which customers are asking for it. So that's how you have to be on the toes to ensure that you're really aligned there. But at SurveySparrow, how we really break it, we have a simple, I think, bucketing system where what we do is we really ensure that we bucket everything that we hear and have a roadmap which is balanced between what customer is asking, what's the market demanding, and how's the competition out there. So, to give you an example.
Okay.
So we have four categories, I would say. One is a very customer centric product development category, which means that what are items that customers are asking for and how what are the problem that's solving for them, and would this make sense for the larger base of customers? So that's very customers. It's coming from the customers. The second category or type I would say is more outcome driven.
More what?
This more outcome driven. So, for example, by implementing a set of features or bringing that new feature, would that impact the customer's revenue? Would that impact the customer in bringing in new sales? Would that impact in retention? Would it bring help in their advocacy? So these are all outcomes, right?
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes customer may not ask for these, but the team would think about these internally and bring those features in so that it's outcome driven for the end customer. The next category I would say is more on from the innovation and the differentiators side. So while it's good to have these features, you also need to have this category, because when your potential customer or prospects ask you how do you differentiate with your competitor, you really need to have these answers, right? So that's why we have this category where we have this innovation or differentiator driven category where we build a lot of things. And the final one is that you always have to catch up with competition so that you are able to retain your customers, you win more customers. So having that space for competition is also important. So four broad categories to summarize: it's customer centric features, outcome driven as another category, USPs or innovation or differentiators as one of the other categories, and competition gets it. So what happens by doing this for us is what we've seen is by aligning these product innovation with customer success, we are able to make sure that every deployment or every development is meaningful and adds value to our customers. And we are able to mature with how the customer is maturing in terms of their use cases, and also help strengthen the relationship with them, right? Because it's a joint partnership between the customer and us, and helps in both of our long term growth plans.
Agree. How do you see AI balancing the need for human empathy?
A great question, and
Yeah.
everybody is trying to balance. I think trying to balance that out. And AI is like the talk of the town everywhere now. Yeah, I don't think any podcasts or any webinars is now incomplete without touching on that topic.
I
Yeah, yeah.
recently had an interesting conversation where a colleague of mine mentioned that not everyone talks the
Mhm.
same way or thinks the same way with another person. Like how I am communicating with you might not be the same as another person.
Absolutely.
Okay, so now we've established that humans' emotions are very messy. It's all over the place. So how do we use this and AI to put together?
Absolutely, very good point. And I think as you asked that question, that's one of the things that came to my mind as well. But see, look, AI has tremendous potential to really enhance customer interaction. I don't think we can hide away from AI. I mean, how much ever you can try to run away, but you really can't hide from it. It is there, it is reality. It's really how you look at using AI to complement what you're doing and make things better, be more productive, and how that adoption is. There is a delicate balance between leveraging AI to streamline some of these processes and maintaining that human touch and building human relationships, right? Uh, so just to give example, AI can help automate a lot of routine tasks for you. AI can help analyze large chunks of data for you and maybe suggest proactive measures. But where AI really cannot fully deliver things where human can, I think is one exactly what you said. How a
Emotions.
person emotions exactly, the emotional nuance or that
Yeah.
context of dealing with people, that's definitely one of the top things that comes when you say emotional nuance. It also means empathy, right? That empathy cannot, I don't think it can replicate that kind of empathy there. And I'll give you example, right? I think
Yeah.
we've all experienced this. Most of the banks on their website today have bots, and we're interacting with these bots when we have question and answers. At the same time, you have a relationship manager. There is a reason that he's called a relationship manager. And how much ever you chat with this bot, I don't think we are ever going to create a relationship with that bot. Whereas you have a relationship manager, when you really want something quick, you most likely are going to pick that phone and make that call and get your questions answered. So that's the relationship aspect or example that I'm saying when it comes to relationship nuance. Other areas that I think AI may not fully be able to replace human or how human interaction happen with customers could be complex problem solving. Because when you're trying to solve for the customer, there is a lot of context behind it because there you have brought in the customer through relationship. So that whole context is sometimes not there. And I think also AI may not be able to really help in handling sensitive situations because, like, again, going back to the same example, how one person reacts to another same problem would be very different from the other person, and how they need to be treated would be totally different as well. Whereas AI is more like a calculator, giving you a set answers for a set questions.
You think AI will eventually reach to where humans' emotions are right now? Like they are able to differentiate what each individual is feeling and cater to them personally.
If you ask like that, we I don't know what the future holds really.
Your
I think,
perspective.
yeah. So 5 years back, if you would have asked me, could AI do what it's doing right now, I would
Mm,
have probably would have said it will happen at some point, but not in such a speed that it is happening.
mm,
And the other side I would say is, as much as people are talking about AI, the brutal reality is people are not adopting AI at that speed because there is a lot of compliances, there is a lot of regulations coming in,
mm.
a lot of security aspects coming in. So although everybody is talking about AI, it's coming at this speed. It's not being adopted at that speed.
It's not fast enough.
It could happen with a lot of data coming in future. It can give better context,
Mm,
but I don't think it can ever replace the empathetic aspect. I'll give you an example. There's a lot of people talking that AI can replace customer support, AI can replace SDR's jobs. I don't think it can replace them. It can definitely complement them. It can
correct.
become more productive. It can become more contextual,
Mm,
but really saying that it can be as empathetic as human beings may be too much to expect.
interesting take. With geopolitical shifts affecting the current global market, how does SurveySparrow manage customer expectations different regions?
Very good question again. So, see, sir, we have company and have customers across 100 plus countries. With people adopting AI, a lot of companies who want AI specific security or AI policies to be shared with the customers, and a lot of us are still figuring out how to do it and get it done. We were able to only finish it a couple of months back.
Mm,
So that's one example. But in when it comes to geopolitical changes, like it could be new laws,
mm,
the economic shifts from region to region. So, for example, in the Europe, GDPR is very important. While in the
okay.
US, in certain regions, CCPA is very important. While you come to the Asia Pacific side in India, there's a new Data Protection Act coming in called DPDP, and I'm hearing there is some talks going on in Singapore as well in terms of some new data regulations that are coming in. So at SurveySparrow, what we focus on managing the customer expectations across these different regions by first of all collecting these feedback, and then internally we have some initiatives to ensure that we enable the team to handle this.
Mm,
Some of the initiatives internally how we tackle these is first and foremost is training and enablement,
okay.
and for which we have a dedicated training team where based on the regional context we come up with training materials, enable the team. We have an LMS platform where we create short reels or a lot of content so that people consume those and are aware what is happening in their regions. The other thing that we do here is we have strong partnerships and compliance in place to handle this. So, how does that help? So, for example, again, in a lot of different regions, people don't speak the same language that we speak. They want to have local support. For example, in specifically in Europe, a lot of countries, like let's just take Germany here, a lot of customers who not comfortable with English, comfortable with German. We have strong partners who speak German, and we have strong collaboration with them who then represent us in those regions. So today, Service Sparrow has over 120 partners across the globe who we work very closely to ensure they enable us on these sides. Then there are other areas like actually talking about languages, it's all I could add one more example here.
Yes,
It's
please.
also very different in different regions how people even interact. For example, in the US,
Mm.
people are more adaptive to digital communication. They're fine with video conferencing or email communications and things like that.
Correct.
Although the entire globe is comfortable with it, but still there'll be customers who prefer more of an in-person meetings
Mm.
in that. And I'll make it more complex for you. This is a personal experience that I've had. I was talking to a Europe customer
Mm.
whose Europe side English is not their first language. And as you can see, I'm from India and my first language is also not English. So we are
Understand.
having this conversation with this customer, and it's an existing customer, been with us for quite some time, and I was explaining to them some new updates in the product and showing them how it's working in the product.
Mm.
So this gentleman customer stopped me after a moment and said, "Listen, English is not your first language, neither is mine. If why would it have been great if you had a presentation up there so that I can read through, even if I don't understand what you're saying, I can still read and understand what you're trying to convey." That actually was one of the biggest learnings that I've had when it
Mm.
comes to this geopolitical change. And now I make sure that our team is sensitive about this,
Mm.
and we try as much while we are speaking on call also use presentations so that
Visuals.
visuals so that they get what you're trying to convey, even if you don't are not able to completely articulate in the way the customer understands in the language that you are speaking.
Mm.
That has been a great learning there, and that's something we try and enable. But there are other ways also, and for example, continuously asking customers, and we being a feedback company, always look forward to collect as much feedback and then use that to ensure we give better experience to the customers.
I do
Uh,
agree with that.
yeah,
Yeah, I
and
do
I
agree with
think
that.
and one final point that I can say is it's really to stay agile, right?
Mm.
Things change really fast, and we just have to stay flexible and ready to adapt those changing circumstances. And this means that you have to be open to revisiting our existing strategies and processes,
Mm.
and be open to respond quickly to the new geopolitical developments that happen.
Happening. And there's constant changes when it comes to geopolitical. What strategy remained consistent? Like what?
I think one common thing is always one or two things, and which enables the rest of the thing. One would be staying updated, because if you don't know what is happening,
Mm.
you might be late to it and it might be too late sometimes. So you just need to be updated is one important thing.
Mm.
And the other aspect is staying agile, like I mentioned earlier,
Mm.
so that you are quick enough to change your systems, your strategies, your processes, enable your team, and act to it really fast.
Mm.
And that comes when you stay agile to act on it. So I think
Mm.
those are two very important factors that stayed constants to ensure that you were able to
Be on
adapt
your
to it
feet.
quickly.
Mm. Would you say that the companies that are not agile are making a big mistakes?
It will be hard to compete with the new age companies who are staying agile and innovating really fast. Uh, see, the in fact, even the old age companies are very agile, and one great example is Microsoft.
Mm.
Even though they are mammoth at that size, look at how agile they have been, and at the pace they have got all these AI developments into most of their products. They've been the
Yeah.
fastest. Sometimes I wonder how
How?
would so many teams have come together, stayed so agile, and brought so many things, and trying to stay ahead of the curve. And you can directly see that in the impact of their stocks as well.
Agree, agree. What are the future trends and innovations that you are excited about?
Yeah, I mean, right now things are changing at this so fast. Every day something new
Mm.
is happening, so you're always
Happening.
trying to stay updated. It looks very exciting, and it really exciting how different companies are trying to solve different things using AI. I would say we are also learning in this part, but like I said earlier, uh, there is so much happening in AI. Although we are releasing at a super fast pace, customers we don't see customers adopting it that pace. Today we have
Mm.
over 15 or 16 AI-based features already in our product. So many features have been launched, and how we look at the future in terms of AI and what things that will come into the product is a couple of things. Before I get into the detail of what we are really doing specifically in terms of AI, so there are two aspects to AI right here. One is at the operational level, and one is at the strategic level. So what I mean by that is, let's say a person using SurveySparrow, they perform broadly these two kind of items. Either it's operational and or either strategic. When I say operational, it could be things like you're creating that survey. How can I automatically use AI to do that for you? Or you're sending that email in that. Can we create that email for you? These are all the operational aspects. Or you need to respond to the ticket. You need to create a dashboard. Or you need to create a report. These all these kind of operational AI related items are already available in the product. Now, when it comes to strategic, that's where most of our focus right now is. An example is we've already launched some strategic level AI features, and one of them is what we call as CogniView. What CogniView does is it collects direct and indirect feedback. Example, let's say you're running an NPS survey, so we have all those feedback from customers. That's the direct feedback. Indirect is what your customers are talking about you online. Example, customers give you feedback through Google reviews, customers give feedback through Facebook reviews, or if you have apps, they might give you reviews on app stores, play stores. If you're selling a product on Amazon, you have reviews on Amazon. So there are reviews everywhere. So we have the ability to bring in all of those indirect feedbacks as well, combine all of this and tell you what are areas, what are your strengths, what are your weakness, where you need to focus upon to ensure that you impact a better score for your customer and deliver a better experience. So these are things that SurveySparrow already offers. Customers really love that. These are the element part. Now, where we are looking at really is that how can we generate more deeper level understanding of customers in real time. What that means is now we know all this part of the site, but can we really get into some kind of predictive analysis? What Shweta might like based on her past data to purchase, and at what point there. So things, it's a very broad example, but things like that. So that's one. We are also getting deeper into delivering very hyper personalized experiences in near time and across all channels. All channels. It could be email, SMS, WhatsApp, QR codes in the app, in the website, pretty much anywhere, right? Your customers are all over in person and all of that. Being able to nearly have that hyper personalization for customers. So that's again something that we're looking at. We're also looking at like we talked about operational and strategic. So again, coming back to strategic, some of the item here is how can we optimize or make this better for teams by automating the routine tasks, such as responding to that ticket from the customer or those workflow optimizations that you have. So this is some of those examples where we can completely automate those operational tasks that you do again and again. So that SurveySparrow actually helps companies improve their productivity while reducing customer experience cost and improving the response times that they really get to the customer.
Understand. Earlier on, you gave me an example, right? Like Service Sparrow will figure out what Shweta wants.
Mm-hmm.
How are you guys doing that when most of the time, okay, let's say if I do not know what I want, how would AI figure out what I want?
No, I think a lot of companies are already doing it, and I'll give you an example here. If you use Netflix and you watch this kind of content, Netflix already recommends you the kind of content that you like, and you're most likely to watch, and you end up watching. Sometimes you start off with one piece of content and you end up watching multiple of those. So it's the same. They have a lot of data. Yeah, they have. It's backed by data. It's a lot of data from multiple sources that's flowing in. So that's how it can be done. And you would have realized this on Netflix. You would have seen this on Instagram, where even though you don't follow a set of people, you still get a content that you consume.
Understand. Understand. Fair enough. What if I choose to be cheeky and like, okay, you know what? If Netflix were to recommend this, I'm not going to follow it. I'm going to choose another one. And then what happens? And if I were to choose a different one every day, what happens?
Yeah, look, so you can try to game the system, but if you're genuinely using Netflix, you just have one account and you are using it to like the content that you watch, then you probably may not be able to cheat it a lot. then you'll have to have another account to do that cheating part, another account, and then actually what the content you want in
What
that
to
account. So you'll have to make
understand?
dual identities there.
Understand. All right. I think that would be all for today, unless you have anything to add on, Vipin. Do you want to add on anything?
No, I think that's pretty much it. It's exciting phase. There's a lot to look forward to, and it'll be interesting how things phase out. And thank you so much for having me here. Enjoyed the conversation.
Thank you. If you enjoyed this conversation, don't forget to subscribe to our podcast and stay tuned for more exciting episodes featuring industry leaders from around the globe. Until next time, stay curious and keep innovating.